Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast, and we are looking at NBA player props here for Thursday night's little 4-game slate in the NBA. Also have best bets up in a separate episode, so make sure to check out all the picks we're bringing you each and every weekday this season and subscribe to that page. Go ahead and give the video a like as well, and we're going to jump right into our player props here. Nate, let's get into your first pick here for tonight.
Yeah, I like taking Luka here over 38.5 points and assists in case the Rockets really sell out to try to get the ball out of his hands, and maybe a little sprinkle on the triple-double, which I think he's about due for. But this is basically a look at what motivates Luka, which is a guy who talks trash and tries to get under his skin in Dillon Brooks, and it's just done the opposite of that in 3 against Brooks since he's joined Houston. Luka's averaging 42 a game, 10 rebounds, 9.3 assists, his usage rate up to 37%. And we've only seen this scenario one other time, which you pointed out this season. He loves to get up against Devin Booker, and 40 points, 36% usage. Those were both season highs. And now it's a little bit of a buy low spot for Luka, who had to miss part of that game against Minnie with injury. He's apparently fine. And then, facing a Utah team that nobody's really taking seriously, especially when they're on the road. And so he's only shot 2 for 17 from 3 his last 2. But you look at what he's done against Dillon Brooks, again, 5.5 threes, 44%. So I think this Houston defense is not nearly as good on the road. They've been limiting assists and threes. If you look at their season stats, well, 2 of those were against the Spurs, just a horrendous offense. One against a Memphis team that's really figuring some stuff out. And then in the opener, they gave up 34 and 11 to LaMelo and 24 to Trey Mann with 8 combined trays. So if there's some sort of junior version of Kairuka, that's it right there. Mini version. And now you face the 2 big dudes who can completely eviscerate your defense and have done so in recent games. So I think both will have success. I think the Mavs offense will have plenty of success.
Yeah, in the early part of the season, I think the only angle that I'm willing to use to bet on Luka is does he care about this game? Does he hate this team? I mean, I'm kind of worried for the Mavs that Luka is in this mindset that he's been in every year, but it's magnified by the fact that they won a championship. And so now when you talk about coming in lackadaisical, I feel like Luka was already coming in lackadaisical to the season because of the fact that he was like, well, I'm so good, I'm just going to chill on the yacht for the summer and then I'll come play basketball. And by game 45, I'll be a top 3 scorer in the league again, whatever. So if it was another spot, I'd be a little bit more scared right now after getting burned by him in a game. I thought he would do a lot better recently, the one that they came back and won the other day. But yeah, either way, against Minnesota is what I'm talking about. Either way, in this one, yes, Luka versus Booker, it's a movie. We all love it. 30 points. If you want the dimes and the boards, I think RA for Luka is a look as well, to be honest. It's at 16.5 in some places, 17.5 on most books if you want legit juice back. But 16.5 is a very low RA number for Luka as well. And I think he's going to be putting them all up, including the rebounds a lot. I like those in this game alongside the points. But I'm looking at Zushak here for my first player prop. And I mean, last night he was Zoo whack, if we're being honest, against the Portland Trailblazers. Only a couple points there, but 12 boards once again. So I'm going to go back to the rebounds for Zoo at 10.5 and take that. And they've already played the Suns. This is the only team he's gone under on the boards, which is why I think after getting 15, 18, and 12 rebounds in consecutive games, he's going back to a 10.5 rebound prop. He also was pretty bad last night overall, even though he got the 12 boards. That would get you here. But 10.5 is too much, and you can still get that for about minus 115 on a number of books. The rebound chances for our boy this year, obviously we know how good he's been, and there's a good reason for it. I keep, Amir Coffey keeps catching strays, I'll be honest, but Amir Coffey's your backup center. So come on now. Zoo's going to keep playing the 32 to 36 minutes that is needed for them to get wins. And this team plays a slow, nasty, choppy brand of basketball right now that is absolutely perfect for him and perfect for him to get the rebounds. This Clippers defense is for real. And I think we need to start looking at how there's going to be just under after under for this team. James Harden is going to go right back to playing similar to the Rockets without the same level of effectiveness. So there's a few less points for his team and still less points for the other team because they're just taking the time off the clock, right? They're just chewing. It was more when he had Chris Paul, the 2 of them would just chew the crap out of the clock. And that's going to be what we continue to see. But that still leads to some good, nasty, choppy offense on the other side because their defense has been beyond legit. It's been the best defense in the NBA, essentially, outside of the Thunder, who are nasty boys right now for sure. But to me, when you watch it as well, it doesn't have the firepower of the Thunder D, but they're locked in for sure, and they've definitely prioritized that with guys like Mann and Powell. Playing alongside Harden for the most part, and obviously DJJ as well, coming in and being a really nice wing stopper for them, and Derrick Jones Jr. All that has led to a lot of misses, having a top 5 defensive effective field goal percentage, and having a top 10 rebound rate as well. All because of Zoo. 20 rebound chances a game for a team that is not even allowing that many shots per game to the other team because of the slow pace that they're playing at and the solid clamps that they're putting on teams. So I like that, all just leading to more rebounds for Zubac in this matchup. He doesn't have the best history against Nurkic, but he still has gone over this number in 3 of 4. And now that he's a much more focal point of the offense, he'll be standing close to the rim for 32 to 36 minutes and not the 26 minutes that he was playing last year.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, more so than the 30 points rebounds last night, to be honest. I was like, is that a typo? Like, that's really high for Ivica Zubac. But yeah, like you said, he's been producing in this system the way the Clippers are playing ball. So I think, yeah, just taking the rebounds is probably a safer bet. So you don't have to depend on him getting a bunch of buckets fed to him by Harden, basically.
Right.
I'm going to just take the rebounds with Alpi Şengün here, 9.5, minus 105. Pretty good juice there just for him to get double-digit boards, which he actually did in his first 2 games this season without the offensive rebounds. But he also added 11 offensive rebounds in those games. Like, he is just attacking every single available board, grabbing 15 of 24 rebound chances per game. 8.7 of those are contested. And you're in a buy low spot, whatever prop you want to take here, because he just played back-to-back games against Wemby and just got benched basically for one of them, only 24 minutes per game in the last 2. I do respect the Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford combo, but he's going to play against these guys. Like, they're not going to take him off the floor because they can't, because he doesn't match up. Like, he's been in there, and it's somewhat relevant to say last November with Lively out there for 28 minutes, Şengün put up 31, 9, and 6. So if you want to take his PRA is 31.5. And if he just dropped that many points in that matchup, like, I don't hate whatever angle you want to take. It's just like a pure buy low spot here. The Mavs are giving up a ton of assists. I think he will be able to kick it out if those guys are giving him trouble down low. But really, it's the boards that have been the most reliable. He's up to 16 rebounds per 36 this season, which is just huge effort from him on the boards.
Yeah, that's really been the only reliable thing about Alpi this season so far since getting paid is the boards. To your point, the assists have definitely been impacted. The points because of the minutes. I don't know. Maybe he just got eaten up by Wemby, to be honest with you, because he had a good games against Wemby last year. But this is probably a different Wemby at this point, as we just saw him get 20 boards on 24 rebound chances. So I'm going to go finish off in the Mavs game here and take PJ Washington. And it's a little bit of a gamble for sure, because it's dependent on PJ shooting. I don't always love taking points props for guys that don't get to the free throw line. PJ had not been getting to the free throw line. That said, looking at a nice game against Houston here, where he has had a good amount of success, and this is actually the team that sort of kickstarted his successful run with the Mavs last year. He was pretty good right when he got to the Mavs, then had a little bit of a quiet time. Then came March, and he started to pick things up as they got into the playoffs to be a really big reason that they made it to the finals last year. And his shooting and his rebounding are the thing. I just took the 10.5 points. I'm okay. The rebounds were a little bit high. If it was at the normal 5.5 line for him, I would take it. But the 6.5 line on the rebounds indicates a couple things to me. They expect him to be more active, especially on the offensive boards, where he's been really helpful. And I think there's also something to the idea that if Alpi is battling, Şengün is battling with one of the two bigs, that he's going to have a little bit more success against a guy like Jabari Smith, who's been pretty good, but I would call PJ Washington a bit bigger of a force and Jabari Smith a little bit more of a finesse player, to be honest. I think PJ, also known as that at times because of his shooting ability, has been banging down low a lot more and has been in position for those rebounds, in addition to getting really good rebounding numbers, which is, once again, why it's a little bit too high for me. Once you get to 6.5, the value on the rebounds for PJ is gone, which is why I just went with the points. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because with that high number, it shows that the minutes projections are probably still high for the books and will be for most of these projection models for his minutes to be still at about 32 to 34. And in those situations, 32 to 34 minutes in the regular season with Dallas last season, he went over this in about 62% of games. So it's a nice hit rate here with decent odds at, like, the normal minus 111, minus 113 in that range that you're going to find for this. Those are decent enough odds for me to go small slate. key player in a key divisional matchup, I'll go ahead and take him with the minutes and the volume to at least be able to make some of those shots.
Yeah, can I interest you instead in over 1.5 threes at -110? Which,
yeah, it's pretty correlated to your point. It's kind of it's like in football. It's like, do I take the receptions? Do I take the yards? They're going to kind of impact each other here, but yeah, it's the same kind of concept. You like it more?
Over half his attempts are coming from three right now, and he's facing a Houston team that's probably going to have to double Kairuka. He's going to be open in the corner. So yeah, I mean, coming off a nice shooting game against Minnesota, which had a similar kind of approach. So I don't think he gets double-digit points without hitting 2 threes is my only thing. So it's like, yeah, you might as well take that. Whereas I see this points prop has fluctuated from 8.5 to 12.5, back down to 10.5, and different books are offering different odds. So take it where you can get it. But I maybe the threes is the more reliable thing here.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think it's maybe a slightly better edge there on the threes, just because it's so important to the points, as you're saying, and you get a little bit better juice. So I can see that being worth it as well. But that is all the time we have for you in the Play Up Props here. Make sure to subscribe to that page and continue to follow along all season. Also got those best bets up for you today. So until we see you next, happy betting.